Jonathan wanted dance to be very much a part of this production, but he crucially wanted it to be very much integrated so that it's not, here's the dance pieces of music, and so the dance starts and the dance finishes. He wanted the dance to come out of scenes and the narrative. For instance, a good example of it is the prologue, where when the story is triggered at the beginning by Jupiter decreeing that for 24 hours Cupid will have his day and we will do things his way, and Diana, you have to just put up with it. Then the whole scene relaxes into the chorus and the dancers building an Arcadia from elements within the set. And the dance comes out of that, and Jonathan, we've all worked very hard, but Jonathan particularly in getting it to look like the dancers and the chorus are one body of people and not the dancers aren't sort of standing out in a special way. So it's very integrated, and I think the prologue is probably the best example of that.
First of all, we started separately, and then when we joined to put them together, it was quite difficult at first, especially in the prologue, because the chorus were walking in between us. So we had to work out ways in which they could walk between us without getting in the way of the dancing.
It's really great because that feeds us into the whole cast and the whole production. And we don't feel like an added extra, and you really get to play with what you're doing and put your own stamp on what you're doing and be a part of the scene that you're in.
I've made most of the work in isolation. We've got our designated studio, but as it's been made, as it's coming into existence, we've then come across to the other studio where the main production rehearsals are to check, if you like, is this working?
We knew roughly the kind of the space that we had, but it always changes when you go into the actual reality of the space. So yeah, things were much smaller than we anticipated, which was fine. We just adapted, and we knew we were going to have to adapt as soon as we got there, so it's fine.
We decided to try and find a 21st century way of recreating the sort of the drama of the visual and to include dance. And in this case, a ballet opera I think is a fascinating form.
The most Baroque we get is in Act 2 in Hell. The dancers are wearing these very, very big costumes. They're almost larger than life. They are also insects, so they've got great big heads on, and court shoes. So that's been the biggest challenge, I think, is how do we dance in that?
There's a lot of aspects of feeling, and just the other senses come into play a lot more, because you just can't see it properly anyway. So you try to feel the other person, like, okay, where is she going? And you have no peripheral vision whatsoever.
They are heavy, that's the thing. So it was more about the dress and the big size of it than the visual effects of it. But then it's challenge, but I think that since we have to fight a bit, it adds a little extra.
Each act has its own flavour, I would say. For instance, in Act 4, the dancers are all dressed in floral print outfits, and they're supposed to be in a kind of idyllic, almost hippie landscape, if you like. And they are demonstrating to the leading characters, Hippolyte and Aricie, ideal, innocent, pure love, as opposed to the more sensual love that we get in the prologue. Visually, it's going to be very impressive. All the set pieces are enormous. They're larger than life. And yeah, I think it's going to be incredibly theatrical.